If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine, and maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them, from disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
A dramatic Friday with episodes of The Mysterious Traveler and Beyond Tomorrow, both from Tuesday, April 11th, 1950, and we'll take a look at the news from that date as well. An episode of the wartime series Everything for the Boys, 81 years ago, April 11th, 1944, The Citadel. An episode of The Lives of Harry Lime, starring Orson Welles, from 1952, and we'll go back to 1936 for an episode of The Adventures of Jungle Jim. That's coming up on this Friday. This is the 11th day of April, 101st day of the year, 264 days remaining in the year. This is celebrated as International Louis Day. This is the author's birthday, Richard Berry. Sadly, he signed away the rights to the song in 1959 for $750. That'd be $7,700 today. Though he did get a settlement in the mid-'80s that helped him out of poverty, he passed in 1997 at the age of 61. In events on this date in history, President Lincoln made his last public speech on this date in 1865. The Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks organized in 1876, and in 1899, Spain ceded Puerto Rico to the U.S. In 1905, Einstein revealed his theory of relativity, and in 1921, Iowa became the first state in the Union to impose a cigarette tax. In 1945, U.S. forces liberated the Buchenwald concentration camp. CBS News correspondent who was with them at the time, Edward R. Murrow, filed this famous report a few days later.
Men crowded around, tried to lift me to their shoulders. They were too weak. As I walked down to the end of the barracks, there was applause from the men too weak to get out of bed. It sounded like the hand clapping of babies. As we walked out into the courtyard, a man fell dead. Two others, they must have been over 60, were crawling towards the latrine. I saw it, but will not describe it.
By the way, if you're wondering about all the noise, the broadcast beamed from Europe to the U.S. via shortwave radio, which even these days is subject to a lot of interference. In 1951, President Truman relieved General Douglas MacArthur of overall command in Korea. Truman and MacArthur disagreed over how to fight the Korean War. MacArthur wanted to invade China. Truman said that could spark another world war.
General MacArthur is one of our greatest military commanders. But the cause of world peace is much more important than any individual.
Many people wonder if MacArthur could have become president. He was very popular at the time, more so than President Truman. And you look what happened, how well Dwight Eisenhower, how readily he ran a minimal campaign and was elected. If MacArthur had actually ran a full campaign, he could have become president in 1952. In 1961, the trial of Adolf Eichmann began in Jerusalem. 1965, 51 tornadoes hit in 6 Midwestern states on Palm Sunday of 1965, killing 256 people. In 1968, President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1968, prohibiting discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of houses. In Santa Monica, California, the 1968 Academy Awards took place, and host Bob Hope had words regarding the recent killing of Martin Luther King Jr.
The men who began our industry had at least one thing in common with the man from Atlanta. They had a dream. It has taken time, but the dreams of the merchants and the martyr have begun to merge. If not out of idealism, then out of necessity. Another martyr said it all. United we stand, divided we fall.
In the 1968 Academy Awards, In the Heat of the Night won Best Picture. The big story was that Dr. Dolittle was nominated, and Truman Capote's In Cold Blood was not. In 1970, Apollo 13 was launched. An onboard explosion 2 days later forced the mission to be shortened. The spacecraft made a dramatic and dangerous return to Earth. So dramatic, they made a movie about it. In 1974, the first of 4 sets of subpoenas sent from the House Judiciary Committee, and they were ignored by the Nixon administration. That moved Senator Sam Ervin to threaten more.
We don't like the surgeon's knife, but sometimes it comes to cancer. That the only way you can eradicate it is by the use of the surgeon's knife. And I think you can have such a thing as a cancer on the body politic. That has to be eradicated the same way. And I'm frank to state, and I'm not stating this in nature of a threat, but I've been given, as chairman of that commission, a mission performed.
The Nixon administration continued to refuse to cooperate. In 1981, President Reagan returned to the White House from the hospital 12 days after he was wounded in an assassination attempt. In the 1988 Academy Awards, Cher won her only award for Best Actress in the movie Moonstruck.
I don't think that this means that I am somebody, but I guess I'm on my way. Thank you.
Cher was nominated for Best Actress in a Supporting Role 4 years earlier for Silkwood. In 1996, 7-year-old Jessica Dubroff killed while attempting to become the youngest person to fly an airplane across the United States.
Why decide to do this sort of what many think would be a dangerous trip?
Well, I believe it was my dad's idea.
24 hours into her flight, her general aviation aircraft crashed after takeoff from Cheyenne Regional Airport in Cheyenne, Wyoming. The accident and its associated publicity led to federal legislation that prohibits anyone who does not hold at least a private pilot certificate and a current medical certificate from being allowed to manipulate the controls of an aircraft during any record attempt, aeronautical competition, or aeronautical feat. Finally, the detained crew of a U.S. aircraft that landed in Hainan in the People's Republic of China after a collision with a fighter were released on this date in 2001. 2007 charges dropped against 3 former Duke University lacrosse players falsely accused of rape. And in 2021, 20-year-old Dante Wright shot and killed in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota by Officer Kimberly Potter, sparking protests in the city when the officer mistakenly grabbed her own gun instead of her taser. And you heard in that audio clip she yelled, "Taser, taser, taser," which is standard protocol. And then you heard the gunshot. And she cursed and said, "Oh my God, I shot him." It was a mistake, but a deadly one. Potter convicted of first and second-degree manslaughter, and I think that video made sure she wasn't convicted of something more. She was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Passing away on this date in history, Francis Pharcellus Church, and the editor-publisher, the man responsible for Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus. He passed away on this date in history in 1906. Also passing away on this date, Mexican actress Dolores Del Rio, June Pointer of the Pointer Sisters, actor Roscoe Lee Brown, author Kurt Vonnegut, also the delightful Jonathan Winters, and Jay Giles of the Jay Giles Band. Birthdays on this date include Secretary of State for 4 presidents, Dean Acheson, the wife of Robert F. Kennedy, Ethel Kennedy, from mannequin and designing woman Meshach Taylor, born on this date, and the 8-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Harley Race. And Harley was a legit tough guy. There are a lot of stories, and I'm not going to take the time to go into them today, but he was a man. He really was.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
From Cabaret, Joel Grey, Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Joel Grey, 93 today. From Mary Hartman, Louise Lasser, who won an Emmy for that role, 86 years old today. Singer Lisa Stansfield, been around the world tonight, 59 years old. A man who has been wrestling and for a long, long time still wrestles to this day. The son of the American Dream, Dustin Rhodes, or a real name Dustin Patrick Runnels. He was Goldust in the WWE. He was Dustin Rhodes in World Championship Wrestling and currently in AEW, actually Ring of Honor, where he is I believe he's still a trios champion and a tag team champion. And yes, he was Black Rain for a while, which was a disastrous character in WCW. And singer Josh Stone turns 38 today. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 11th day of April as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the 4 freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues now as we go into mystery, and we start off on Tuesday, April 11th, 1950, 75 years ago today. We go to 9:30 Eastern Time for an episode of The Mysterious Traveler, Operation Tomorrow.
Every family should have a home shelter area. Every family should stock that shelter area with a 2-week supply of food and water. Prepare now to survive disaster.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We go back 75 years to Tuesday, April 11th, 1950. 75 years ago today to Mutual and The Mysterious Traveler, an episode entitled Operation Tomorrow.
The Mysterious Traveler. Written, produced, and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Cogan. And starring tonight 2 of radio's foremost actors, Leon Janney and Charlotte Holland, in Operation Tomorrow.
This is the Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and the terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip. It will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves, and be comfortable, if you can, as we journey with a young scientist into the unknown future. It's a story I call Operation Tomorrow. My story begins in a scientific laboratory cut out of the solid rock many feet beneath New York's City University. Amidst a maze of electronic apparatus, Professor Wilbur Malcolm, a middle-aged pipe-smoking man, is making methodical tests, aided by his new assistant, Fred Andrews.
The main output coils seem to be working the way they should. You ready at the meters, Fred?
Yes, Professor. But I wish I knew what we were doing.
You will in a few seconds, my boy. Now, wind up that alarm clock and put it here on this lead table in the center of the magnetic field.
This old alarm clock?
Yes.
There. All right, it's in the magnetic field. Now what?
Now I'm going to turn on the current. You give me the readings as we go along.
Right, sir.
Here we go. Readings, please.
1,000 volts positive main output tube. 1,500. 2,000. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000, 9, 10,000.
All right. We've reached critical voltage. Now watch the clock closely, Fred.
The clock? Yes, sir. Why, it's getting a little hazy. Hard to see. Now it's transparent, as if it were made of glass. What is this, Professor?
Patience, my boy. Watch and observe. That's the scientist's motto.
Well, the tick is getting fainter. Fading out. The clock is disappearing. Professor, the clock has vanished.
So it has. Gone completely.
But where? Don't tell me you've discovered the secret of invisibility.
Oh, something bigger than that, Fred. But watch now. I'm going to cut off the alpha tubes. Now I'll cut in the beta tubes. That will give us a negative charge and reverse the magnetic field. You ready, Fred?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Readings, please.
2,000 volts negative. 3,000 negative. 4,000. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 volts negative.
Good. I'm holding the field at 10,000. Now watch where the clock was.
I'm watching, sir. Good Lord, I see a ghost of a clock there. Just a misty outline. Now it's becoming clearer and clearer. It's transparent. Now it's almost solid. Why, I can hear it ticking again.
And there it's back.
Oh.
Yes, Fred. The clock is back. And as you can hear, still in good working order.
But where was it? Where did it go?
Where did it go? It went into the future.
Into the future?
Yes, my boy. That clock has just penetrated approximately 1 year into the future. You've witnessed the first demonstration of something that up to now has always been considered a fantastic dream. Time travel.
Good Lord.
Ah, that's enough for today. You're coming home with me, Fred, when I tell you my plans.
How did you stumble onto this time travel effect, sir?
Well, it came about almost by sheer accident. My main purpose, which is a top-secret operation, is to develop electronic controls for atomic spaceships.
You mean they've been developed?
Oh, no, not yet. But it shouldn't be long now. Science is making incredibly rapid advances. And sometimes it worries me. When you travel so fast, there's danger of a collision.
Yes, I know. We're all of us worried that the world is headed for a gigantic disaster, but there doesn't seem to be anything we can do about it.
Perhaps there is. That's what I've been working around to tell you, Fred.
What, Professor Malcolm?
Well, this time travel effect that I stumbled on accidentally. I've kept it a secret. You're the only person besides myself to know about it.
I'm very flattered, sir.
And I know I can trust you. And I need your help. I'm not sure we're really ready for time travel. As we were just saying, we're going so fast now, so many new discoveries that we don't know how to handle for the world's good. I hesitate to add one more to the list.
I think I understand.
But on the other hand, maybe it can be used for mankind's benefit. I have a wild scheme, Fred. Very unscientific. And yet...
What is it, Professor?
Well, it's this. I propose to send you on a little jaunt into the future.
Into the future?
Yes. I want you to bring back information. I want to find out what's in store for us mortals of the 20th century, Fred. If it's bad, war, perhaps, just knowing about it in advance may make it possible to prevent it. Do you follow me?
Huh. It would be like knowing in advance about a train wreck and then seeing that it doesn't happen.
I knew you'd understand. That's why I sent for you. As soon as we've completed our tests, I propose to send you through time 100 years into the future.
For days and weeks, Fred Andrews and Professor Malcolm experimented until they were sure it would be possible to send a human being into the future and bring him back safely. At last, they were ready for the big test, for the actual transmission of Fred himself through time.
Professor, I'm all ready. Why are you hesitating?
Well, Fred, as we've been working, suspicion has been growing in my mind.
What suspicion, sir?
I don't think this is going to work.
But, Professor, we've sent dozens of objects into the future and brought them back. Even live animals. Cats, dogs.
Yes, but we've never brought back an object from the future itself. I mean, one we didn't send there.
No, that's true.
I wonder if... Well, no matter, we'll see. Now remember, gather all the information you can and get back to this spot 6 hours from now. I'll activate the return field then and bring you back to 1950.
Yes, sir, I'll do my best.
I guess that's all. Good luck, my boy.
Thank you, sir.
5,000 volts positive. 6,000 volts. How do you feel?
I feel fine, Professor.
8,000 volts. 9. 10,000. Critical voltage. You're beginning to move forward into time. You're getting transparent now. Can you hear me?
Yes, Professor Malcolm. I can hear you, but you sound very far away. I can't see you any longer. I seem to be in the middle of a fog or mist. Now I'm just surrounded by blackness. I can't hear or see anything.
He's gone. Pray heaven he comes back safely.
For a long moment, Fred Andrews felt as if he was spinning dizzily through empty darkness. Then the feeling passed, and he cautiously opened his eyes to find himself standing in an empty room, the laboratory which he had just left 100 years ago. Unsteadily, he crossed the room and, with difficulty, opened the door. Then he gasped. Outside was a maze of corridors and stairways, brilliantly lighted, as if a whole city had been carved out of the rock of Manhattan Island. As he stood there, someone came walking swiftly past him. An attractive girl in full military uniform.
I beg your pardon.
Yes?
But, can you
What are you
tell
doing
me...
here? This section is forbidden to civilians.
Forbidden to civilians? I don't get it.
How did you get past the guards? Where are your identification papers?
No, wait a minute. Since when does an American citizen have to carry identification papers?
Ever since the war started, as you know quite well. Put up your hands.
A gun? No. Look, miss, you don't have to threaten me. I'm harmless.
Stand still. I want to see if you're carrying a weapon.
Well, satisfied? The only weapon I have is a fountain pen.
What's your name?
Frederick Andrews, Ph.D.
Your draft card, please.
Draft card? Look, what's all this about? War, draft card, identification papers. All these tunnels that have been dug down here. I'm a stranger here.
I don't know what you're up to, but no one can be that ignorant. You're coming along with me to see Colonel Phillips.
Colonel Phillips?
He's the security officer for this sector, and I certainly hope you have a good story to tell him.
So your story, Mr. Andrews, is that you've come here from the year 1950. You must realize it's a very unconvincing tale.
Completely unconvincing, in my opinion, Colonel.
Well, it's the only story I have. I was born in 1923, and in 1950, Professor Wilbur Malcolm of City University sent me into the future. Now I'm here, and, I forgot to ask the date.
It's April 10th, 2050.
Exactly 100 years. Professor Malcolm's calculations were accurate to almost the minute.
Colonel, in my opinion, this man is a very clever spy.
Spy? But well, look at that stuff you took from my pockets. The notebook, fountain pen, my driver's license, dated 1950. Those coins and bills, the cigarettes. Surely they convince you I came from 100 years ago.
I think we can settle the question, Mr. Andrews. Our technical department can tell whether this currency is genuine and approximately how old it is. Lieutenant French.
Yes, sir.
Send all these things by pneumatic tube to the technical department. Ask them for an immediate report.
I'll have a report for you in half an hour.
When the report comes, Mr. Andrews, I'll know how to handle your case. If you are a spy, you know the penalty.
Well, I'm not worried, Colonel. Now, may I ask a few questions? Are you at war?
We are indeed at war.
And these miles of tunnels I saw, carved out of the solid rock.
This city has retreated underground, Mr. Andrews. No one lives on the surface now.
Good Lord. How long has the war been going on?
We've been at war, Mr. Andrews. Off and on, of course, with periods in between in which both sides have rested up for 95 years.
Well, a visitor at last. Hello, Lieutenant French.
I'm sorry, Mr. Andrews, that we had to keep you locked up until you were cleared.
Does that mean you believe my story now?
Technical Division says your story is true.
I'm free now?
Well, not exactly, Mr. Andrews. This is a military sector, and you're a civilian. But I am to be your guide for the time being.
Good. Then, suppose I call you Emily, and you call me Fred.
All right, Fred.
There's a great deal I want to see and learn before I go back to 1950.
Go back? You mean you can return?
Of course. Professor Malcolm will turn on his gadgets to bring me back at 4 o'clock.
That's only 3 hours. I'll have to report this to Colonel Phillips. After I've reported, what would you like to do?
I'm anxious to see what's going on. And I'd like to collect a number of books with the latest scientific and historical data to take back with me.
Yes, all right. I'll phone the colonel. Then I'll show you around. Fred, here's the plotting room for the flying bomb attack.
Good Lord, it's as big as a theater. And as dark. What's that big board with lights on it?
That's the chart board, which records every flying bomb within 1,000 miles of American territory.
Self-guided missile entering detection net over Greenland. General course south-southwest.
I have it plotted. Send up interceptor rockets when it reaches Zone 4.
Yes, sir. Rockets 34 and 35 successfully intercepted at Defense Zone 4.
Now, you see, Fred, 2 lights just went out. That means we sent up destroyer rockets, which brought the bomb down.
Rocket bombs 29 and 31 have eluded interception at Zone 3.
Interception salvo at Zone 2. If they penetrate, use interceptor L-100 at Zone 1.
L-100 is our new top-secret interceptor, Fred. Hardly anyone knows how it works, but it never fails.
4 more lights went out then.
Mm-hmm. And here comes the report.
Last 4 rockets successfully intercepted.
Roger.
Well, Fred, what do you think of modern
Rocket
warfare?
25 has penetrated Zone 2.
Horrifying.
Interceptor
And
L-100
everybody
is being
here
launched now.
Seems to take it so calmly.
You can't get excited when a thing has lasted for almost 100 years on and off.
That light, number 25, it's still on and moving.
But it should have been destroyed by now. Do you suppose...
Rocket number 25 has eluded interceptor attack by L-100.
It has, but it can't have.
Report on 25, please.
Detection Base 103 reports number 25, apparently new type rocket, non-metallic construction, able to baffle sighting mechanism of L-100.
Order technical crew to search for fragments after the hit. Send general warning to eastern seaboard area. Give plotted strike prediction.
Very good, sir. All personnel in Eastern District. All personnel. Bomb strike due in 10 seconds. Battery area. Bomb strike due in 5 seconds. 4 seconds. Bomb strike due in 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second. All personnel. Bomb strike over.
All right, Fred. I'll take you to the viewing room next. You can see for yourself what this city looks like in the year 2050. Lieutenant French reporting back with Mr. Andrews, sir.
Very good, Lieutenant. Well, Mr. Andrews, have a good look around?
Yes, sir. I saw the city through the television viewing screens.
Not quite the city you left, is it?
It's unbelievable. Just acres of twisted steel and fallen stone. The skeletons of giant buildings lying across one another, rusting. It's like the end of the world.
Not quite. Perhaps not even the end of civilization. Man is an adaptable creature.
But are we winning, sir?
Nobody wins a war anymore, Mr. Andrews. We're holding our own, and we hope when the end comes there will be peace on Earth forever.
But how did it start, sir? We were trying so hard to prevent war back in 1950. In fact, one reason for my trip into time was to get information that might help us keep war from breaking out.
Lieutenant French, why didn't we think of that?
Think of what, sir?
If the world of 1950 knows the truth, maybe it won't happen. Either they can prevent the accident that started all this back in 1955, or at least they'll know the truth when it does happen.
Of course, sir. Mr. Andrews can take the true story back with him.
What story? I don't follow you.
Fred, you asked how the war started.
Yes?
It started because of an accident and an over-jittery world.
Yes, my boy, a horrible irony.
Fred, now listen. During the 1950s, the government established a special experimental base in the heart of the Arizona desert, in a little town called Red Rock.
Red Rock, Arizona?
Yes, that's right. The first space rocket was put into production there, and work was pushed on the problem of fuel.
During the course of experiments, an explosion occurred, late in 1955.
It was a terrific blast, wiped out the whole base. The first reports were sabotage, that the enemy had blown up the base because they were afraid we were on the verge of getting space flight.
Before the truth became known, our newspapers screamed for retaliation. The enemy became panicky and decided to strike first. And phase 1 of the war was on. When we discovered the blast was really an accident, it was too late to stop.
That's horrible, sir. War, because everybody was just too jittery.
But it doesn't have to be. Don't you see, if you take back the true story before it happens, it won't have to happen. Now look, I've assembled a dozen books for you. The information in them will enable your scientists to prevent that blast at Red Rock Base.
Now, Fred, you've got to get the facts back to them. You've just got to.
I will. Believe me, Professor Malcolm and I will see to it this war doesn't start in our time.
Good. Now come along. You've only 5 minutes more.
This is the exact spot where I was lying when I came through the time dimension, Colonel Phillips.
You've only 30 seconds more, Andrews. Remember, impress the lesson of the accident at Red Rock on the world. These books, hold them close to you so they'll go back with you.
Yes, sir. I've got a good grip on them.
Fred.
Yes, Emily?
Just good luck.
Thanks. Maybe I'll pay another trip to 2050.
I hope so.
It's 1600, and Professor Malcolm is on time.
Look, Colonel. He's getting transparent. He's disappearing.
Goodbye, Emily. I guess this is it. Hope to see you again sometime.
But, sir, the books, they aren't disappearing. They're just as solid as ever. Fred! Fred!
What? I can hardly hear you. Everything's gray and misty. Are you still there? Emily, are you still there?
The books, Fred!
Andrews, you're going back with the books. They're staying
here. He's appearing. He's returning. Thank heaven he's safe. Fred, my boy. Fred, what's the matter? You're staring at me as if you didn't know me. Here, Fred, let me help you up. It's I, Professor Malcolm.
Professor Malcolm?
Yes. Don't tell me you don't remember.
Professor Malcolm?
Yes, Fred. What's the matter?
Oh, my head feels so funny. I can't seem to remember who you are or what's happened to me. What am I doing here?
Well, Fred, how are you?
Oh, Professor Malcolm, it's good to see you, sir.
I can't tell you how I've been blaming myself ever since the experiment.
Oh, nonsense. I haven't suffered any harm. Just a blank place in my mind. I can't understand it. Do you suppose the experiment failed?
You were gone for 6 hours. Somewhere. That's all I know, Fred. If you did get to 2050, Fred...
Yes, sir?
Well, I have a theory that though we can move from past to future, it's impossible for anything belonging in the future to move to the past. The structure of time itself prevents that.
I see.
So, if you did try to bring back any books or papers, they stayed behind.
You must be right.
You can't remember because nothing that you didn't take with you could come back with you, even including sensory impressions on your brain cells. The very act of returning wiped out your memories.
Maybe if I went again, we could find some way around the problem. There must be some way, sir.
No, Fred. I'm dropping the whole subject for the time being. I've been transferred to a new assignment, and you're coming with me.
Well, what is the assignment, sir?
All spaceship research is being concentrated at a new base now being developed. You and I are going out there to help develop a fuel that will take a rocket to the moon.
I see. Where is the base, Professor Malcolm?
Oh, someplace in the west. I believe they call it Red Rock, Arizona.
Red Rock? The name seems awfully familiar to me. I wonder why.
This is the mysterious traveler. Well, time travel doesn't seem to be all it's been painted. Especially if you can't remember what's happened when you get back. You aren't worried about the future, are you? You know that tonight's story couldn't possibly happen. Or could it? Oh, you have to get off now. I'm sorry. But I'm sure we'll meet again. I take this same train every week at this same time.
75 years ago, April 11th, 1950, and The Mysterious Traveler here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. In just a minute, we will take you back to that same date, 75 years ago, with a look at what was headlining the newspapers on that Tuesday.
Should public utilities fail in time of disaster, refrigerated foods must be either cooked or eaten before they spoil. If this can't be done, throw it away.
On this Friday Classic Radio Theater, we're going to take a look at the news headlines from 75 years ago today, April 11th, 1950. Harry Bridges, the CIO Longshore boss, was sentenced yesterday to 5 years imprisonment for perjury and conspiracy because he lied to conceal the fact he was a communist. The Australian-born West Coast Union leader ordered into immediate custody, but when $25,000 bail was set, it was supplied. The AFL Masters, Mates, and Pilots Union said yesterday it has broken off government-sponsored contract talks in the New York and plans strike of Atlantic and Gulf Coast shipping at midnight on Saturday. Owen Lattimore demanded last night that Senate investigators hear in public the testimony of a mystery witness who Senator Joseph McCarthy says will swear that Lattimore is or was a member of the Communist Party. Lattimore asked permission to cross-examine the witness through his attorneys. Congressman George Smathers said last night he was not surprised at an article in the Communist Daily Worker urging his defeat in his race against Claude Pepper for the Senate. Quoting, "It is not inconsistent with their stand," he said in a campaign talk. "They have supported my opponent's program and him for many years." The annual Battle of the Hours is underway, whether or not to adopt daylight saving time. In peacetime, the decision is purely a matter of local or state preference, and each community has its own private war. Lines of battle change with each year. Government officials know there will be the usual confusion this year because, in general, the cities like daylight saving, the farmers don't. George Bernard Shaw would rather spare the rod at all times and said whippings are only inflicted at the whip holder's pleasure. Shaw jumped into the English debate over flogging of prisoners and said it might stop some criminals, but so would boiling in oil. Whipping, he said, doesn't make a better man to the victim. General Ira C. Eaker told the Commonwealth Club of America in San Francisco that the U.S. must realize its danger and prepare to fight a war our way, not theirs. In Russia with bombs, not in Turkey or Iran on the ground. Michigan's Republican Senator Ferguson said in a Washington Saturday a top-heavy support was promised for a bill to control communists, but he said he expects administration leaders to try to block action on it. Majority Leader Lucas of Illinois retorted, "Ferguson is just talking politics. The anti-communist bill would require Reds and Red Front organizations to register." An authoritative Tel Aviv source said Saturday President Chaim Weizmann is considering a personal appeal to President Truman to permit the export of U.S. arms to Israel. The informant said Weizmann might seek Truman's intervention in view of what is regarded in Tel Aviv as the State Department's lukewarm attitude toward an Israeli request for supplies to match the rearmament of Arab nations. The Senate Commerce Committee hired an investigator yesterday to make on-the-spot check of morals in the Hollywood movie colony. Senator Kilgore, the Democrat of West Virginia, introduced legislation yesterday calling for price fixing of soft coal at the mines by a federal commission, a similar measure pending in the House. Senate yesterday began debating a one-package bill authorizing $1.75 billion for navigation improvement projects and flood control in virtually every state of the Union. President Truman flew home from Key West yesterday, full of energy and ready to tackle a heavy schedule of official and political activities. An excited motorist in Elizabeth, New Jersey, called police to say a man had just gone over the side of the bridge. Said the man had walked calmly to the railing, climbed over, and disappeared. And it's 150 feet to the water of the Arthur Kill between Staten Island and Elizabeth. Police rescue crews converged on the scene on the double and peered over the bridge rail. Slightly startled man dangling just below the railing. And he said, sure, he'd gone over the bridge. Do it every day. I'm the welder. Patrolman Lester Forrester of Springfield, Pennsylvania, said, where's the fire when a fire engine sped past? Fire Chief John Corengo had the right answer. It's your home, Les. Got to get there quick. Forrester sped to the blaze and helped firefighters douse it. Sylvia, North Carolina's Mrs. Jane Hatch will be 100 years old today. As her birthday present, the sharp-eyed woman wanted to see her first movie. She said, I just want to see what they're like. Mrs. Hatch just won't wear glasses even when reading fine newspaper print. A down payment of 1 dozen grade A eggs will buy a used car in New York City today. The offer of a dealer for a 1940 models or older. Here's how the ad ran. You bring the eggs, we've got the crates. Think you're a mechanic? Here's your chance to prove it. We'll get them started, you keep them running. Dealer also offered easy payments after the initial egg investment. And cautious Mrs. Anna Mae Yerkness of Rochester, New York, switched the bathroom door key to the outside so 2-year-old Caroline couldn't lock herself in. So Caroline simply turned the usual story around, locked in her mother and another sister. Mrs. Yerk is freed by firemen called by neighbors after she knocked out the storm window in the bathroom. Those some of the day's top news stories in the newspapers of Tuesday, April 11th, 1950, and on your radio, Beyond Tomorrow. And that's next.
In time of disaster, natural or nuclear, medical aid may not be available. That's why one member of each family should take a Red Cross first aid or home nursing course now.
And we wrap up our trip back to Tuesday, April 11th, 1950, 75 years ago today, with an episode of Beyond Tomorrow, a short-run CBS series, science fiction series, in fact, and this episode entitled Incident at Switchpath.
Now for tonight's story. Let's go Beyond Tomorrow. Are you afraid to face tomorrow, or whatever may lie beyond tomorrow? Do you think you're up to spending a weekend on the moon, or entertaining house guests from Mars? Can you and your children adjust to the strange, new, wonderful world that is being wrought in the test tubes and cyclotrons of science beyond tomorrow? Beyond Tomorrow, a new program of probabilities drawn from the vast library of science fiction, where anything is possible and possibly may happen to you. Tonight, based on a famous story by Theodore Sturgeon and adapted by Draper Lewis, a tale about a man accused of murder in a small western town who insists it was not murder, but something really much worse.
All
presiding coroner here, and I'll handle this inquest my way, if you don't mind.
Well, all right.
Now, look, Kemp. Why can't you get it through your head that nobody's trying to railroad you into admitting anything? You're just a fella knows something about the death of this here Alessandro Sykes. And this court would like to know exactly what happened.
I'll tell you what happened. That kid killed Sykes, killed him dead in the doornail, and then brought the body back here and dumped it in his hotel room. That's what happened.
No, you're wrong. I didn't kill him. I didn't kill him. You're trying to accuse me of murder, but I tell you it's something worse. Something much, much worse than murder.
What's if we don't have it quiet in this courtroom, I'm going to have the sheriff clear the place. This inquest is going to be run legal-like or ain't going to be run at all.
You mean maybe we should have the hanging right now, Bert?
I didn't say no such thing.
Well, maybe you should and stop wasting so much time.
Well, that's
Mr. Wilson, sir, you can't let him hang me. I'm innocent, I tell you. I didn't kill Sykes. Aren't you even going to listen to what I got to say?
Sure, son, I'm going to listen. We're all going to listen. Or I'm taking this boy into Tucson where there's a jury that will listen.
Well, this better be good. We don't like murder around Switchpath.
No, and we don't like strangers neither.
If you gentlemen are through now, suppose we hear what the boy has to say.
I don't know. All right, I'll sit right.
All right, son. Now, let's get the facts straight first off. Your full name?
James Gordon Kemp.
And your home?
Chicago, Illinois.
City bred, huh? Maybe that's why he don't give no mind to something like murder.
I thought you was always so proud about the times you've been to Tucson, Hafferty.
Huh?
Seems to me wearing silk shirts is pretty city-fied, too.
What kind of talk is that?
All right. Here, son. Sit down.
Thank you.
Now, suppose you tell us what happened. Tell us the whole story just like it happened.
Okay. I'll try. I guess I'd better go right back to the beginning. The first time I ever saw this here Sykes. It must have been about 2 months ago. I had a little repair shop at the time, just auto parts and maybe fooling around with radios and TV sets now and then. It didn't make no big profit, but it paid the rent and gave me a little extra pocket money. I was working in my shop one afternoon when he walked in. He watched what I was doing a couple of minutes. Then he spoke up.
You Gordon Kemp?
I said yes and looked him over. He was a scrawny fella, probably 60 years old, and wound up real tight. He talked fast, smoked fast, moved fast, as if there wasn't time for anything, but he had to get on to something else. I asked him what he wanted.
You the man who had that article in the magazine about a concentrated atomic torch?
Yeah, only that guy from the magazine used a lot of loose talk. He says my torch is 300 years ahead of its time. Actually, it's something I stumbled on by accident, more or less. It's an ordinary atomic hydrogen torch, but it's plenty hot. It'll cut anything. Anything. And since it got patented, you'd be surprised at the calls I got. You got no idea how many people want to cut into bank vaults in the side doors of hock shops.
Like to take a few weeks off and go out west? Arizona? I want you to cut your way into a cave there.
A cave? Is it legal?
Sure, it's legal.
How legal?
You get me into that place, you can satisfy yourself as to whether it's legal. I'll give you $5,000.
What?
Cash.
How's that again?
Get me into that cave, and you'll get $5,000. Cash.
How come you happen to run across this here cave, Professor Sykes? Didn't anyone else in Switchpath ever spot it?
Yeah, from what I can gather, there must have been a shifting of rock. Maybe a slight earth tremor that opened it up. The time I was fresh out of college, spending all my time digging for Indian ruins, I found it at the bottom of a deep cleft. A small, dark room, all rock walls. It was rock that was very old. A couple of 100,000 years. Maybe 500,000.
500,000?
It wasn't the rock that got me so excited. It wasn't the rock and it wasn't the cave. It was the machinery in the cave. Machinery that must have been put there before there were any human beings on Earth.
Oh, now, just a minute, Professor.
Now, look. I don't care whether you believe me or not. I know what I'm talking about. Those machines were installed in that cave room back when there wasn't a single living creature of any sort.
But that doesn't make sense. If there are machines, then some human beings must have made them. Some human beings must have hauled them into the cave and assembled them. Only you say there weren't any human beings on Earth.
Maybe not on Earth, Kemp. But there are human beings someplace else. At least, beings. Who knows whether they're human or not?
Wow. That's a nice, pleasant thought.
Yes. I thought so, too, at the time. I've gotten used to it now. I got used to it during all the days and nights I stayed in that room and studied that machinery.
What kind of machinery was it?
Well, I finally figured out that one of them was some sort of a radio transmitter. Now, get this. Here's a machine with an antenna on top of it, just like a microwave job. Beside it is another machine. The second machine is shaped like a dumbbell standing on one end. Top of it is sort of a covered hopper. At the waist of the machine are two big spools with a wire running between them made out of some alloy that was never seen before on this Earth.
Were they running?
One was running, making a slight humming sound. The dumbbell machine was running, and that's what gave me a clue to what it was. That machine is a recorder. And that automatically makes the other machine a transmitter.
A recorder? What kind of a recorder?
It records the physical being of the entire Earth. Every earthquake, every continental shift, weather cycles, every hurricane and volcano eruption and landslide. Now here, take a look at this.
Piece of wire, huh? About 35 gauge. Plenty tough.
Yes. I cut it off the recording machine. Kemp, my boy, it took a long time, a lot of years out of my life. I finally got it decoded. I can read that wire. You've no idea in what detail that piece of wire records, second by second, minute by minute, day by day, through the years, through the centuries. When I start my decoding, I'll be able to prove things which until now have only been guessed, only whispered about in the history books of the world. I'll be able to give the exact time and date when the Red Sea parted for the fleeing Israelites. You want to know what happened to the Spanish Armada? I have it all here. What about the last days of Pompeii? I have it, son. I have it. And I am going to give it to the world. Me, Alessandro Sykes, will give it to humanity complete and provable, and history will be reckoned from the day I speak.
I admit he did sound a little off his rocker. And if I had any sense, I would have gotten off that train and gone back to Chicago. But he was such a nice little guy. As nice a little character as you'd ever want to meet. And he figured he had something big in that cave.
I'm not going to listen to
Yes, I tell you, something important enough that he'd been living with it, thinking about it, working on it day in and day out for 30 years or more. You can't let that kind of a guy down.
All of us here knew Sykes pretty well, Camp. His family was among the first settlers in Switchpath. Came in on a wagon train just before the rush in 49. We knew he spent a lot of time digging around in the desert, but we never heard about no cave.
It's 30 miles or so to the east of town. You pass a big rock formation. It's shaped like a crescent. The cave's a little further
I've been out by Crescent Rock more times than I can count, and I never seen no cave.
But you wouldn't see it if you didn't climb into the cleft.
Something happened out there just about 2 years ago. Ground was hot for miles around. All the grass shriveled up and died. Nothing's grown there since.
Yeah, besides, if Sykes had found a cave, he certainly would have told somebody here in town. Ain't like he was an outsider, if you know what I mean.
Well, sure.
That cave was there. It's not there now, but it was there, and I was in it. Sykes didn't tell anyone else about it because he knew no one would believe him. He wanted to get his proof first.
And what makes you think we believe you, Kemp?
This is the truth, I'm telling you. This is how it happened.
And you still haven't told us about the killing yet.
No, how about that?
I said this inquest was going to be run legal now,
I
boys.
say we're wasting a lot of time. The whole story smells to high heaven, and you know it.
I ain't passing judgment one way or the other till I hear what the boy has to say.
The idea?
And I still mean what I said about having the court clear. All right. Now go on, Kemp. What happened when you got here to Switchpath with Sykes?
I don't think anyone will remember the night we arrived. I was dead tired from the trip, and I wanted to get some sleep. But the professor was all for getting out of town as quick as possible. He didn't want to answer any questions. So we piled all the stuff into his rattly old car and started for Crescent Rock. It was plenty spooky driving across the desert at night. It was a cold wind that kicked up the dust, and you breathed dust, bit into it. The old man kept peering straight ahead, and every now and then he'd change the direction.
Swing a little to the right, son. It's an old castle trail. We follow it for 5 miles or so.
He knew the way perfect.
It's Crescent Rock way up there ahead. Just keep it head on.
We didn't detour or backtrack once.
It's another 10 miles now. Distance is pretty tricky out here. Things look closer than they really are.
And then, just as it began to get near dawn, the sky was all smoky and you could start seeing the scrub weeds and cactus growing around the trail. Sykes grabbed my arm and said...
Well, pull up here, son. Walk the rest of the way to the cave. I don't want anybody snooping around while we're down there with those machines. I don't want anyone to know a thing until I'm ready to tell them. Just about another 100 feet or so, and we'll be at the entrance to the room, son.
Boy, I never knew how much this torch weighed till I had it strapped on my back.
Sure I can't give you a hand with it?
No, it's okay, Professor. Don't worry.
Over there, that's all that's left of the place where I used to camp at night. I was afraid to sleep in the room, afraid to sleep outside the cleft. I used to make a fire and bed down on the rock.
Can't say I'd enjoy that over a long period of time.
You can get used to anything if it's important enough. I got used to the dark, the sound of little animals scurrying around, the damp, the smell. Wait, huh? This is it, Kemp. You can take off your pack here.
There. Oh, that feels better. Oh, I'm glad I can still straighten up.
You see that place there? Between the two pillar formations? That's it, son. And it's all yours. If that 300 years in the future torch of yours is any good, now's the time to prove it.
In just 30 seconds, we will return you to Theodore Sturgeon's famous science fiction story, The Incident at Switchpath. Meanwhile, a memo on a matter of importance to you and your family. Did you know that nearly a third of all motor accident victims are killed in collisions between motor vehicles and pedestrians? Just because the road looks smooth, clear, and flat in front of you, don't put your foot down on the accelerator. A child may ride a bicycle out of a side road. A young couple may step off the curb, and death strikes suddenly. Drive carefully. Drive with your mind as well as your body. And now, back to our story.
Okay. Now stand clear of the equipment, Professor. Sure that tank is balanced squarely?
I can pile a few more rocks around it.
Yeah, well, we'll give it a try this way. If it starts to move, just give a shout.
I'll watch it, Kemp.
Well, here we go.
How long do you think it'll take, Kemp?
I don't know. It depends on how thick the rock is that's sealing up this room.
Kemp, think of it. On this little piece of wire, I have a complete record of the movement of the polar glacier, which will have all the learned busybodies gnashing their teeth. But have I said anything? Not me. Not Sykes. I'll wait till I can get the whole spool of wire, and I'll translate it into a history of the earth and mankind written in such detail, with such authority, that the name of Sykes will go into the language as a synonym of the miraculously accurate. Me, Alessandro Sykes.
Hand me those black goggles, huh? How long have we been at it now, Professor?
Almost 3 hours, son. You better let me spell you.
No, I'll take a breather when I need one. This torch is too heavy for you to handle. By the way, whatever happened to the entrance you used before? How can we have to burn our way in like this?
That, my boy, is an unforeseen quality of the machines. For some reason, they closed themselves up. In a way, I'm glad they did. I was unable to get back in. I was forced to concentrate on my sample. If it hadn't been for that, I doubt I would ever have cracked the code. Whoever left these machines here, or how they operate, we may never know. It would be interesting to find out. But the important thing now is to get into that room and get that spool of wire. That's all that matters, son. That's all that matters.
6 hours and only 7.5 inches. I've seen that torch of mine walk in a laminated bank vaults like the door was open. What kind of rock is this, anyhow?
There must have been some chemical substance added that we don't know about when the room was sealed.
And you think that machine will still be running after the blast of heat it must have took to build this wall?
It'll be running. They'll both be running. The recorder and the transmitter.
What do you mean, the transmitter?
Because the recorder was set to trip it off. I found that out, too. There's a little gear train waiting by the wire, and when something happened, somewhere on Earth that was just the right thing, a crimp would show in the wire, which would hit the gear train and start up the transmitter.
Yes, but you said...
I saw a crimp in the wire. Something happened which put a wiggle in it, the thing I was looking for all along. I was in the cave the day it happened. There was a sharp click. The transmitter started up, and the wire kept on recording. I looked in the papers the next week to see what it was. I couldn't find a thing. It wasn't until the following August that I found out.
What was the date when it started to transmit?
July 16, 1945.
July 16th.
The day the first atom bomb was exploded at Los Alamos, New Mexico.
Okay, Professor. Hold the light a little higher. This should do it now. Well, there it is. I'll have to wait a minute or so while those edges cool.
30 years' work. 30 years, Kemp.
Professor, who do you think's on the receiving end of that transmitter?
I don't know. I'm only sure whoever he is, or they are, they're not any place on this earth. That's why I've been so anxious to get into the room.
Well, we'll throw that canvas over the edges just to be safe. Now, you take the big flashlight and I'll bring the lamp.
We can remove the spool of wire and then destroy the machines. It won't be any good to anyone else once the recording device is disconnected. The light, Kemp. Bring in the light quickly.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah, I'm right behind you, Professor. Oh, brother. You weren't kidding about that machinery, were you?
They're beautiful, aren't they, Kemp?
I've never seen anything that looks like that transmitter.
And the recorder, Kemp. Come closer. Examine the recorder. Listen to it humming, Kemp. I knew it would be humming. It's recording everything that's happening to the Earth, the whole Earth. Will we stand here and listen to it humming?
Professor, maybe we better get the wire and get out of here. This place gives me the willies.
Don't be frightened, son. Machines can't hurt you.
It's not the machines. I just don't like this place. Let me hold the flashlight and you disconnect the spool.
There should be a catch lever of some sort which frees it. Something like a movie camera or one of those old-fashioned wire recorders.
Yeah, well, maybe I can find it, Professor. I've worked with these things.
No,
and I know...
No, I can find it. Just let me alone. You forget that I've been... Oh, Kemp.
What's the matter, Professor?
Kemp, the reel is empty. Look. There's only 8 inches of wire on it. Only 8 inches, Kemp. It was almost full before the cave was seen.
That's impossible. No one could get through that rock. No one, I tell you.
The reel's been refilled. That's what's happened. It's been refilled. Kemp, they've been here.
Who's been here, Professor?
That's what the transmitter was for, Kemp. Tell them when the first atomic power was used on Earth. The recorder tripped the transmitter. It sent out a signal. They answered it and came here and changed the reel. It's the beginning of a new era as far as they're concerned.
Sykes! Who are you talking about? Who are they? What do you mean?
I don't know, but they've been here. And I've lost 30 years' work. 30 years of my life completely gone, disappeared.
Professor, you gotta pull yourself together and we gotta get out of here. I don't like this at all.
Get out? Why get out? Damage has been done now. The reel's gone.
I don't like the way that thing hums. Sounds like it's just sitting there, waiting and... Professor, the crimp. It hit another crimp in the wire. The transmitter started again.
Doesn't matter now. Nothing matters now. Nothing.
Come on and grab that light. I've had enough of this place.
No, I'm going to stay here.
You're not staying in this cave. You're coming with me if I have to carry you.
No, let me alone.
Come on.
I'm staying here, Kemp. Let go of me.
No.
Let go.
Professor, watch out for the recorder. Professor.
My hands.
Sykes, are you all right?
My hands. Burn my hands. It's so hot.
Yes. Both of them, Professor. You're getting hotter every second. Come on. We gotta move. Something tells me this place is gonna blow sky high.
Hands.
Put your arm across my shoulder. I'll guide you out through the cleft.
Air school. 30 years' work.
Stop talking and walk, Professor. We're getting out of here and fast. I don't remember much about that climb up through the cleft, dragging Sykes with me every inch of the way. I just know it was hot. I could hear rock falling and rock bubbling thick and heavy behind me down there in that terrible room. I somehow got to the car and stretched Sykes out on the back seat. I asked him how he was, but he didn't answer me. He just kept looking back towards the cleft and the glow of the lava. And then he whispered,
They knew we'd reached the atomic age. They wanted to be told when. That's what the transmitter did. They came and took the recordings, filled the machine.
Don't try to talk, Professor. I'm going to drive you into town and we'll get the doc to take care of those hands of yours.
They sealed off the room with something they thought only controlled atomic power could break into. This time the recorder was triggered to that power. Your torch did it, Kemp. That 300 years in the future torch, that did it. They think we have atomic power. They'll come back, Kemp.
Who, Professor? Who?
I don't know. I don't know whether they're friends or enemies or where they are. There'd be only one reason why some creature would want to know a thing like that. And that's so they could stop us.
Oh, no, Professor. We're not going to be stopped now. Like the papers say, we're in the atomic age if it kills us.
Yeah.
But we're in for keeps. Why, humanity would have to be killed off before to get out of this atomic age.
I know that, Kemp. I know. That's what I mean. Oh, Kemp. Kemp, what have we done? What have we done?
Professor? Professor Sykes? I was going to bury him there, out there near the cleft. I thought he'd like to be there. But then I realized the people would be wondering about him, looking for him. So I brought him in. In the excitement I left town, it just didn't look good to me. I knew nobody would listen to a yarn like that.
Well, now I can see what Brother Kemp was worried about. If that story is true, I, for one, would think twice about telling it.
He's a liar. He's a murdering liar.
I got a kid that reads that kind of stuff, and I never did like to see him at it. Believe me, he's going to cut it out as of right now.
I think this Kemp guy needs a hanging.
Wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. If we kill off this fellow, we do it legal, see? You just keep quiet a while longer and let me ask this boy a question. Now, look, Kemp. If there's anything in your story, or in that goofy idea of the dead man's about someone coming to kill us off, well, ain't it about time they did?
Yeah. When's the invasion start, kid?
Yeah, maybe we should start digging foxholes now, huh, Kemp?
I didn't say anything about that. I just told you the facts the way they happened. I just told you what Sykes told me.
The whole thing's a lousy pack of lies. It's all lies. Lies!
Wilson!
That was a bomb! Yeah, Wilson, look! There! In the sky! Look!
Ships! The sky is full of ships!
You have just heard Incident at Switchpath, another program in the new science fiction series Beyond Tomorrow. Michael O'Day was featured in the role of James Kent, and Brett Morrison was heard as Professor Sykes. Music was composed and conducted by Henry Silverne, and John Campbell, Jr. was our technical consultant. Beyond Tomorrow was produced and directed by Mitchell Grayson. Listen again next week at the same time for another story about you in the future. You, Beyond Tomorrow.
Only 3 episodes of Beyond Tomorrow were produced, and that's because NBC rolled out Dimension X. CBS decided there wasn't room for another science fiction show. Beyond Tomorrow, wrapping up our look at Tuesday, April 11th, 1950, 75 years ago today. Coming up tomorrow on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, it'll be comedy. An hour-long Screen Directors Playhouse from 74 years ago, April 12, 1951. Hired Wife, starring Rosalind Russell, Jeff Chandler, and also involved is Jim Backus. Comedy about a secretary who marries her boss for legal reasons, then she takes over the company. Then you have an episode of Jack Benny from 72 years ago, 1953. Jack turns down a $5,000 legacy after showering with a peeled potato. George Burns and Gracie Allen take a trip to Palm Springs from 75 years ago, April 12, 1950. And Fibber and Molly from 1954, as Fibber decides he'd rather fight than switch. That's all coming up on tomorrow's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A reminder, anytime at classicradio.stream, or you can visit us there at classicradio.stream to support the show. Up next, everything for the boys.
During a national emergency, you may have to be your own fireman. Take the first step now. Remove all fire hazards in your home. Eliminate clutter. Store flammables in a safe place.
Everything for the Boys was a dramatic anthology and later musical variety show sponsored by Autolite and broadcast simultaneously in the U.S. and overseas by shortwave to connect the soldiers with their families and friends back home. Of course, famous actors Coleman, Ginger Rogers, Greer Garson, Ingrid Bergman, Loretta Young. Program included short plays and conversations via shortwave between the hosts and service members abroad. Host Ronald Coleman, alongside writer-producer Arch Oboler, pulled out all the stops in this morale-boosting show. And despite the fact that Oboler and Coleman didn't get along, the show was wonderful. Let's hear this episode of Everything for the Boys, going back 81 years, April 11th, 1944.
From Hollywood, California, and an Allied base in Cairo, Egypt, Autolite brings you Everything for the Boys, the Command Theater of the Air, starring Mr. Ronald Coleman and his guest for tonight, Miss Ida Lupino. Everything for the Boys is presented by the Electric Autolite Company and its 22 great manufacturing plants. Builders of precision equipment for 35 years. World famous for Autolite spark plugs, batteries, wire, cables, and electrical systems for automotive, aviation, and marine use. Here is your host, Mr. Ronald Coleman.
Thank you and good evening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's subject, we have a play, a sonnet, a lovely and talented guest, and a shortwave conversation with Cairo, Egypt. So to our men and women in the land of the pharaohs and the pyramids, we dedicate this global half hour.
You'd never guess that farm tractors in the Midwest had a lot to do with the success of our tanks in the African desert. Yet such was the case. Some time ago, farm tractors in dusty regions had distributor trouble. Dust and dirt got into the distributor, stalling tractors and creating a serious problem for our farmers. Then, Autolite ignition engineers got on the job, studied the problem in the field, pooled their technical knowledge and experience. And when they had finished, they had developed a dust-proof distributor that would help keep our farm tractors rolling. And came the war. And in North Africa, the fine grains of Sahara sand collected in the distributors of some military vehicles, causing dangerous delays. But the peacetime dust-proof distributor, which Autolite engineers had already adapted for use in tanks, proved highly successful. And today, this important ignition unit is standard equipment in many jeeps, trucks, command cars, mobile artillery, and reconnaissance cars. These dust-proof distributors are one more example that the name Autolite means precision manufacturing. Now, Mr. Coleman again.
Writers through the ages have expressed their various opinions on the subject of doctors. Many years ago, a doctor himself once wrote, "When people's ill, they comes to I physics, bleeds, and sweats 'em. Sometimes they live, sometimes they die. What's that to I lets 'em." That's all very well, but you and I, being kindly folk with little use for the cynic, are more likely to agree with Robert Louis Stevenson, who declared that of all the classes of men who stand above the common herd, the physician takes first place. Anyway, Dr. Cronin, in tonight's story of the Citadel, gives us a heartwarming insight into the trials and tribulations of a doctor's life.
Our play, Arch Oboler's radio dramatization of The Citadel. The players, Mr. Ronald Coleman and his guest, Miss Ida Lupino.
That's an interesting question you've asked me. The luckiest man I've ever known? Well, there's only one possible answer. Andrew Manson. No, why should I tell you about him? Andrew Manson's story won't help you out, young fellow. Or maybe it will. Andrew Manson's luck began the day he walked into a little schoolroom in the Welsh mining town, where he'd just begun to practice medicine, and began to shout at the schoolmistress. There it is, young fellow. The first milepost on the road to good fortune is to shout at a schoolteacher, preferably young and very pretty.
I know I'm shouting. I have every right to shout. This child has no right to be in his schoolroom. His brother has the measles, and you know it.
Dr. Manson, if the boy had stopped school, he'd have missed his free milk. His family can't give it to him. And it's doing him a great deal of good.
My dear Miss Barlow, I admit I'm new in this village. I admit that it may be the custom here for the schoolteacher to prescribe. But I have been employed by the mining company as the physician. So would you please listen to me and send that child home at once?
Dr. Manson, I too am new here, and it may be the custom for the company physician to shout at women and order them about. But I doubt it very much. Would you please be so kind as to leave this classroom?
If you keep that child here, I'll have to report you.
Then you better start making out that report. Good day, Dr. Manson.
So there's the first item of the luck of Dr. Andrew Manson. What's that, young fellow? You can't understand what's lucky about that? Relax. This is a story with a beginning, a middle, and an ending. And we've just begun.
Yes, who is it? Dr. Manson. Andrew.
Christine, I must speak with you.
Well, Andrew, I can't ask you to come in. It's so late.
Oh, I can say it here as well as anywhere else. Christine, how long have we known each other?
Why, a month, I suppose.
A month?
Yes, it must be a month since the Halls boy has been over his measles.
1 month. Oh, I know it's hardly time enough for a girl like you. What I mean to say is, Chris, that I've got a new job. The most wonderful job in the world.
Andrew, where?
At Aberlaw. I've just seen the miners' committee. $2,500 a year and a house. A house, Christine.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes, it's a beautiful place. Green fields and a park. And, Christine, there's actually a hospital for me to work in. Now, would you... That is to say, could you...
Is this a proposal of marriage, Dr. Manson? Or do you want me for your new assistant?
Oh, Christine.
Of course I'll marry you, Andrew.
Oh, Chris.
You're the first man who ever shouted at me. And I liked it.
Well, young fellow, so they met and they married, and hurried over to Aberlaw, and went to visit the big house which Andrew had been given to live in rent-free as part of his salary. And on that day, Andrew's luck really began.
Well, Chris, we've seen it all.
Yes, Andrew.
Closely as I can remember, this place has a dining room, drawing room, morning room, and 5 bedrooms upstairs.
No wonder they wanted a married man.
Oh, Chris, this isn't funny. I had no right to bring you into this. A huge, empty house. All I've got in the world is 10 pounds. Well, Chris, didn't you hear me?
A doctor with bicarbonate of soda for his prescriptions, and I have a frying pan. Don't you see, we're both in business, Dr. Manson.
There you are, young fellow. Is there anything luckier than a man who marries a woman and then finds that she has a decent sense of humor? Or the greater luck of finding that she also has good sense?
The river's high for this time of the year.
That's what they say.
You know, I've no right to be lying here soaking up the sun this way.
Oh, you've every right. It's Sunday. You've been working hard.
It's been all right, hasn't it, Chris?
You're a good doctor.
Am I?
Why do you say that?
Is this to be my life? Looking at tongues and taking temperatures?
What do you want to do?
These miners. You know, Chris, there's something terribly wrong. Their lungs. Why should there be such a marked preponderance of lung diseases among the anthracite workers? Do the sharp crystals of dust that they breathe cause some chemical action? Something in the air of the mines?
Why don't you do something about it?
Oh, what?
Well, experiment. Find out.
Oh, Chris, I haven't the right to spend any money now.
The baby?
Of course.
You're a most impatient father. It won't be for months and months.
Ah, but we must prepare for the baby.
Yes, that's right, Andrew. And that's why I want you to start your research on that dust disease right away. For the baby. Yes, I said for the baby. Because I want his father to be a happy man. And you'll never be happy, Andrew, unless you're the sort of doctor who gives more of himself than pills and the soothing bedside manner.
But Chris, now look
Now,
here.
don't argue with me. It isn't good for me. Haven't you heard? I'm a woman in a condition.
Well, young fellow, luck has all sorts of facets. And the greatest of all man's good fortunes, I say, is to have a woman who makes it possible for you to live when luck turns her head. And for a while, there's misfortune.
Chris, I'm home. Oh, Dr. Llewellyn.
We've been trying to find you on your rounds all morning, Manson.
Well, what? Chris. Is it Chris?
She had an accident.
Accident?
When she was going over the bridge in the garden this morning, one of the rotten planks gave way.
Well?
She's all right, but I'm afraid.
No.
I did everything I could. Brought a nurse from the hospital. Manson, I think you'd better go in and see your wife. She's been asking for you for hours.
Yes. Yes.
Andrew,
Chris.
come close.
Oh, my darling.
Andrew died.
Oh, Chris, and I wasn't even here.
Andrew, how terrible for you. I cried, but you can't. You never could cry.
Chris?
Dr. Llewellyn said, never have a baby again. Not ever. All mixed up. Full of hate, tears, and questions. But I know you've got to be more than a good doctor now, Andrew. You've got to be the best that ever was.
And if that woman you marry has the strength to help fight your battles, that's a luck that comes to only a few men.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. What can I do for you?
We want to see the doctor.
Well, he isn't in if you'll come back.
We're coming in now.
Aye. But I don't understand.
We've every right to come in. This house belongs to the committee. And as representatives of the committee, we can do as we please.
We certainly can.
What's wrong? What's happened?
Look, it's in here.
No, please. That's my husband's laboratory. His experiments.
That's exactly why we're here.
Look at those poor dumb little creatures, unable to make a sound against this fiend's tortures.
Tortures? What are you talking about?
Now, don't try to protect him. We know about his dirty experiments. Come on, men, smash it up.
Yes. No, stop! Please, stop!
Yes, Mrs. Manson, we've done our duty. Mr. Manson will know how we feel about what he's been doing.
What he's been doing? You fools. You everlasting fools.
Now, look here, Mrs. Manson, you've no...
Shut up and listen to me, all of you. Do you know what you've done here? You haven't broken up test tubes and smashed a few bottles. You've have shoved a few hundred of your fellow workmen down into their graves. Yes, into their graves. Well, no matter what your vicious little stupid minds might have thought, my husband was working for you and the owners of the mines. Your men go to their graves with their lungs ground up by silica dust. But instead of fighting for fresh air and decent food, you come here and smash up the work of the only man who's fighting for.
How about the animals?
Oh, you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. Your kind live in every century, impeding progress. You blinded astronomers in the Middle Ages. You hanged chemists because they saved a man with another's blood. And you'll keep on forever in your stupid ignorance. Go ahead, take the animals, but get out, all of you. And the next time you pass the lung ward at the hospital, stop and listen. Just listen. That noise you'll hear will be men trying to breathe. Did you hear me? Trying to breathe.
Well, young fellow, even if I stopped right now, you'd have to admit that my friend Andrew was a very lucky fellow. But I'm not going to stop, because if I did, I'd miss telling you a vital truth. Sometimes a lucky man thinks that he's greater than his luck.
Oh, Chris, don't look so shocked. It's all for the better. London, instead of this slag dump.
But I don't understand.
It's all very simple. My experimental work is over. There's no reason we shouldn't improve our situation. Oh, come on, Chris. I can be a better doctor in the city than the country. And the money. It's about the time you had it a little easier. Dresses, interesting friends, a decent place to live. I want that for you very much. And London's the place to get it. Of course I bought new furniture. This is London, Chris, not Aberlour.
Yes, I found that out.
What are you mumbling about? Oh, yes, I've got some more news for you. From now on, you're my dispenser. It's a wonderful way to make some extra money. All you have to do is fill the bottles with these stock mixtures, label them, and wrap them. A good dose of iron mixture never did anyone any harm.
20 guineas. Oh, Andrew, that's quite a fee, isn't it?
And to think you didn't want to come to London.
Yes, but didn't you tell me Mrs. Everett wasn't sick? And why all this money?
Oh, a little trick I learned from Dr. Ivy. A harmless injection, and the patient thinks she's a new woman.
But isn't that the sort of thing I've heard you talk against?
Oh, confound it, Chris. You're never satisfied. After years of tramping around attending miners' wives in dirty back bedrooms, I wake up and decide to make a living for us both, and you object. It doesn't make good sense.
Andrew, this check that Dr. Ivy sent you...
Well, what of it?
Well, you told me yourself. He isn't even a capable surgeon. And yet you send your patient to him and take a cut of the fee.
Are you beginning that again? You talk as if I were a thief. If I take this money, it's only as a means to an end.
If I could only understand this change in you.
Change? Yes, why not? I've changed into a man who knows that he can't change the world. The people judge you by what you have. All right, now I'll do the having. And there's nothing more to say about it. You hear me, Chris? Nothing.
Andrew, a long time ago you talked about your life as an attack on the unknown. Climb uphill as though you had to take some citadel you knew was there on the top.
I was a young fool. I've grown up, I tell you. Yes, and I advise you to do the same.
you follow, those are the facts of a man turning his back on his luck. Now, there's wonder in your face. You're asking, well, then why did you start off by saying this one was the luckiest man you ever knew? Well, I told you to listen to the beginning, middle, and ending. And here's the ending of it all.
Andrew?
Yes, Chris?
Home so early?
Is it early?
Darling, what's wrong?
I've just killed a man.
Andrew.
As I went into the operating room, his wife ran up to me. God bless you, she said. God bless you for getting Dr. Ivy to do the operation.
Dr. Ivy?
Yes, Dr. Ivy, the great surgeon who sends me checks. Chris, he couldn't operate. He couldn't operate at all. He's nothing but a butcher. Stupid, blundering butcher. And I sent my patient to him and stood there and watched him die. Oh, Chris, what'll I do? Oh, I'm thinking, how did I ever come to do it? Me. Getting in with that whole money-grabbing crowd. Chris, what a time all this must have been for you.
No. Just talk about tomorrow.
All right. I still have some real doctors as friends. As Denny and Stillman. Now, if the three of us could find a country town and open up a real hospital and laboratory.
No fee-grabbing, no soft-soaping of hypochondriacs. Absolute allegiance to the scientific ideal. A place where rich or poor were served alike, and nothing mattered but the truth. Oh, I'm sorry, Andrew. Perhaps I shouldn't. Andrew, why don't you say something? What are you thinking?
That someday someone may think of me and knowing you, say, there goes the luckiest man in all the world. I love you, Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard a radio dramatization of A.J. Coleman's famous novel, The Citadel, starring Ronald Coleman and Ida Lupino. The play was directed by Arch Oboler, and the original musical score was composed and conducted by Gordon Jenkins. While our engineers are setting up the shortwave circuit between Hollywood and Cairo, Egypt, here is a word from Autolite. Have you ever had the sad experience of pressing the starter button of your car and discovering that nothing happens? Well, many a car owner has, particularly in these days of gas rationing when fewer miles of driving make it difficult to keep car batteries at full efficiency. Now, one of the best ways to sidestep battery troubles is to check your battery regularly, at least once a month. Make sure there's enough water in it to cover the plates, that the terminals and connections are clean, the insulation on the cables in good condition, and the battery is bolted tightly in its frame. Perhaps the surest way to keep your battery delivering power when you need it is to have your local car dealer, serviceman, or one of the thousands of Autolite battery dealers inspect and check its performance. And if you find your present battery is beyond repair, replace it with a new Autolite battery. Autolite batteries are specified by many leading engineers as original equipment on the cars they build. Remember, the name Autolite means precision manufacturing. Here is Mr. Coleman again.
And now, for no reason, unless it is that Gordon Jenkins has written some beautiful music for it, and that I like it, as I'm sure you do, here is Elizabeth Barrett Browning's lovely sonnet, How Do I Love Thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach, when feeling out of sight for the ends of being an ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need, by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely, as men strive for right. love thee purely, as men turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs, and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death.
Coleman, the circuit is through to Cairo.
All right, we hope it works tonight. Now, just put on these earphones, and here we go. This is Ronald Coleman and Ida Lupino calling Cairo, Egypt. Cairo, this is Hollywood calling. Come in, Cairo. This is Hollywood calling. Hello. Come in, Cairo. Hello, Wally.
Hello, Wally.
Hello to both of you. Hello. Come in, Cairo.
Trouble, Ronald?
Well, it doesn't sound good, Ida. The shortwave gremlins are at it again. We were out in force last week and spoiled our chat with Alaska. Let's try once more. Come in, Cairo. Come in. Hollywood calling. Come in, Cairo. You hear that?
Shortwave gremlins?
Yeah, they thrive on static. A hex on them. Are you there, Cairo? No, it's no good, Ida. The engineer says we are unable to complete the circuit to Cairo.
Oh, Ronnie, that's too bad.
Well, there's a chance it'll clear up later, but...
Well, can the boys at the other end hear us?
Oh, possibly.
Well, then, let's send the messages anyway.
All right. Hello, Sergeant Wally Reed and Sergeant Joe Sudano in Cairo, Egypt. Here's some messages for you. Joe, we called your mother in Elwood City, Pennsylvania.
Yes, she didn't have a phone, so we called your neighbor across the street, Mrs. Hollowatner, and she called your mother over.
Your mother was so excited, all she could do was say hello. So Mrs. Hollowatner took over and relayed the messages.
And did a fine job, too. Joe, your mother says the family's all well. Your father's driving his truck all out for victory. Nick is a paratrooper, now stationed in England, and your kid brother John is in the infantry.
And your little sister Rosanna is collecting waste paper in the school salvage drive.
And your mother is glad to hear that the foot you injured in fighting off a raid on Anzio is better now.
And she's proud you've become an aerial engineer on your plane. And you, Wally, we phoned your mother in Houston, Texas.
Everybody's fine and sends love, including your nephews Bruce and Buddy and niece Barbara Jean. Your brother Francis is in Georgia with an armored division.
And we understand you're very handy with machines yourself, that you used to patch up old autos and went into a radio shop, and now in the signal corps, and a repairman at a bomber base.
Wally, your mother said to see the pyramids and the Sphinx for her.
But she said not to ask the Sphinx any riddles because as you always have all the answers yourself.
She told us that you traveled around the Persian Gulf with a radio recording unit, making records to be sent back home to the States. Records of the boy saying, "Hello, Mom."
And she told us that if she was making a recording to send you, she'd say, "Hello, son, the family misses you but is proud of you. We here are going to stay on the job and finish the job."
Time's up, Mr. Coleman.
Well, time's up, men. Sorry we missed out on a two-way chat, and better luck next time. Good night and good luck.
Good night, fellows, and God bless you.
We have just talked to a pair of our fighting men overseas. Now, may we think for a moment of the women who are behind the men behind the guns? The magnificent way in which women are working for victory with their hands as well as their hearts will make one of the brightest chapters in the final history of the war. Hundreds of thousands of additional women are needed by July to meet the requirements of our production program and women's branches of our armed forces. The men at the front need more women behind them. Your local government employment office can tell you where you can best help the war effort and effectively speed the day of victory.
join us next week when the Electric Autolite Company again presents Everything for the Boys, starring Mr. Ronald Coleman in one of the most significant stories to come from the present conflict, Gene Fowler's The Jarvis Bay, dedicated to two men of the United States Navy who will speak to us from the land down under, in faraway Noumea on the island of New Caledonia.
So until next week, this is Ronald Coleman saying good night to you and the boys, and God be with you.
And now, this is Frank Martin saying good night for Autolite.
Miss Lupino can now be seen in the Warner Brothers picture In Our Time. Our program has come to you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Yeah, shortwave radio was not always good, but it's all they had. Everything for the Boys, 81 years ago, April 11th, 1944, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Up next, Orson Welles in The Lives of Harry Lime, the Third Man.
Your automobile may save your life during a national emergency. It can move you out of the target area, provide shelter, communications, and carry supplies. Keep your car in good shape at all times.
Now we go back 73 years to April 11th, 1952. Orson Welles in the prequel to The Third Man, the motion picture, as we look at the lives of Harry Lime. Because Harry Lime died in the motion picture, that's why this all took place beforehand.
Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character, originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
One late afternoon a couple of years ago, a plane was sighted about 70 miles out of the Orly airport in Paris. It was a private plane of medium size, and nobody was in it. Nobody at all. The plane, keeping its course steadily toward Paris, was flying itself. Why was it empty? Who had been flying it? And why and in what circumstances had they left it? Well, thereby hangs the tale.
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the Third Man, in today's story, Man of Mystery.
Gregory Arkadin, calling Monsieur Harry Lime.
Yes, Harry Lime speaking.
1 moment, please.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, this is Gregory Arkadin.
Yes?
I am at the Hotel de Cap in Antibes. Come and see me tonight. I have a job.
Well, I'm in Vienna. Well, there isn't a plane out of here until Saturday.
I am sending you mine.
Your what?
My private plane. This is Arkadian speaking.
Oh?
Gregory Arkadian. You know who that is?
Oh, yes, I think so.
You think you know who is Gregory Arkadian? My friend, that is wonderful answer. More wonderful than you guess. I'll see you soon, Mr. Lime, yes? After dinner tonight.
Hello? 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 Oh, yeah. And sure enough, just as the great Mr. Arkadin had willed it, there I was on that famous plane of his. And promptly after dinner, there I was at the Hotel de Cap, which is in Antibes, which is in the south of France. Science is wonderful, and so is money.
You're waiting to see my father?
Was your father Gregory Arkadin?
Yes.
Well, that's who I'm waiting for.
Mr. Lime, I am completely in my father's confidence. We are extremely close. He tells me everything, but he hasn't said a word about you. What is your business?
Oh, I dabble, Miss Arkadin. I dabble in a variety of sordid things.
I see. If you sit down, I'll tell my father you're waiting.
I sat down like a good little boy on the edge of the chair. I lit a cigarette and crossed my legs and tried not to look impressed about the fact that I was going to meet Gregory Arkadin. But it wasn't any use. I wasn't even fooling myself.
Here he is, Father.
Go in and amuse our guest, Raina. You are Mr. Lime, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
I've heard many things about you, Mr. Lime.
I've heard many things about you, Mr. Arkadin.
What exactly have you heard about me? Go on, I have my reasons for asking.
Well, everybody knows you're one of the richest men in Europe, Mr. Arkadin. You're supposed to have big interests all the way from Denmark to the Belgian Congo, but you... Well, for one thing, you've never been photographed.
I do not like to be photographed, Mr. Lime.
Well, that's okay with me, Mr. Arkadin.
I think you are starting to make fun of me.
No, I'm waiting for you to start making some sense, Mr. Arkadin.
You are a crook, Mr. Lime, but I see you are a tough crook, not a little sneak thief. Tell me, did you ever hear of something called an intelligence check?
Intelligence check? Yes, I think so. Doesn't that mean some sort of check by an intelligence service in the army or something on a man's past? Isn't that what it is?
Sort of. No, it's not some sort of checkup. It is, as you would say, the full treatment, the works.
Yes.
They are very thorough, these army people from the intelligence service. They turn up the carpets, they look under the wallpaper.
Which army is this, Mr. Arkadin?
Your army, of course. Who else is planning those air bases in Portugal?
Oh, really? Oh, man, I wouldn't know.
It's an allied operation, but the U.S. Army must approve all contracts. And I understand, Mr. Lime, that all bids are examined not only on their own merits, but also on the merits of a man's record in the past. This is their famous intelligence check.
Okay. Now you're beginning to make a little sense. You want the contract for building these bases, and you're afraid of an investigation, so you want to hire me to help you cover up a few items that might not show up so nicely on your private file.
Are you telling me or asking me, Mr. Lime?
I'm guessing.
Well, guess again.
No, let's play something else. How about Pachisi or Lotto?
I am not playing games, Lime. I am hiring you for a job of work.
A minute ago, Arkadin, you called me a crook. It's a cinch you've got a touch of larceny on the brain, or you wouldn't have called me in. What's the offer?
$10,000.
Tax-free, old man?
You can have it in gold, in Liechtenstein.
Well, that's a nice offer, Arkadin. I'll have to know who it is you want killed before I give you my final reply.
You are to kill nobody. You are to cover up nothing. You are to perform no illegal acts whatever. No, Mr. Lime. I am not hiring your so easily adjustable conscience. I am buying you a knowledge of the continental underworld.
Huh.
And that is all. I want you to make an investigation and prepare me a report.
What do you want to know about?
I want to know about me.
You?
Yes. It is on the subject of me I want you to make that report, Mr. Lyme. I want you to investigate me.
Well, okay, Mr. Cotton, but just what is it you're afraid they'll find out?
I swear, Mr. Lyme, I wish I knew.
Well, there must be something you wouldn't be so worried, and I guess you figure if I can't smoke it out, the FBI isn't likely to either, but still,
Let me tell you a poetic little story.
Okay, old man, if you insist.
It is the winter of 27.
No, really?
I'm a young man, and the city is Lucerne in Switzerland. I have only the suit I was wearing and a wallet with 200,000 francs. Swiss francs. It was with that money that my present great fortune was built.
Oh, yes. Well,
the stages, Mr. Lyme, the stages by which I erected myself into the position of one of the richest men in the world may be traced. They call me a man of mystery in the newspapers, but really all of that story can be pieced together and checked.
Yes, I'm sure, but...
Mr. Lyme, what happened before the winter of 27?
Oh, that's for you to say.
Where did I come from in my one suit? Who was my family? That's my real secret, Mr. Lyme. I don't know who I am.
So that was my assignment. Tell Mr. Arkadin who he was. Yes, old Doc Harry Lyme was supposed to cure a slight case of amnesia, which had only been pestering the patient for the last 20 years. Right away, I could see that this little caper wasn't going to be any kind of a cinch. Well, there was plenty of cash, you know, unlimited traveling expenses and all that. But as far as a cue or a clue to the facts about his own distant, mysterious past, Gregory Arkadin was just about as helpful and as chatty as a clam. Now, look, Mr. Arkadin.
Arkadian.
Okay, Arkadian. Pronounce your name any way I want to, but... Hey. Now, wait a minute. How do you know it's Arkadin?
I know my own name.
Who says so?
I say so.
And who are you?
That's what I am paying you to find out, Mr. Lyme.
Exactly. So what makes you so sure about your name? Maybe it's really the name of a town or a candy bar you happen to be eating. Maybe it's the name of the man you murdered.
You think that's how I got the money, Mr. Lyme? By committing a murder?
Mr. Arkadin, I don't know how you began, but I know the best way to begin finding out.
How's that?
Well, isn't it obvious, old man? By assuming the worst.
Antibes, Monsieur Gregory Arkadin demande Monsieur Lyme, Monsieur Harry Lyme, à Zurich.
Mr. Lyme?
Yes?
Well, Mr. Lyme, what have you found out?
Hello, Arkadin. How did you find out I was in Zurich?
I have an office in Zurich. Well?
Well, what?
You heard me. What have you found out? Who was I? Where did I come from? What,
You came from Warsaw. Warsaw.
What's that?
Well, I said you came from Warsaw. That's in 27. I'm not sure where you came from originally, but your tailor thinks that...
what?
Your tailor, the one who made your clothes when you first came to Zurich.
He's dead.
The one who owned the shop, not the cutter. You probably never noticed him, but he remembers you. And what's more, he remembers the label in the first coat you were wearing.
What label? What did it say?
Yeah, well, he doesn't know. All he remembers is that the coat was made in Warsaw.
That
the coat
isn't much.
was made in... No, it's not much, but it's something.
Well, what are you going to do now? You can't get a visa for Poland?
No, but an awful lot of Poles left home since 27.
You mean refugees?
Oh, that's right.
But they went everywhere, all over the place.
That's right.
Well, where are you going now?
Well, I'm going to look up a few Poles.
But where?
Just where you said, Mr. Arkadin. Everywhere. All over the place.
Harry Lyme returns in just a moment. And now Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the third man, continues in today's story, Man of Mystery.
And now here I am in Paris, in Maxine's. I'll spare you all the sordid details. What matters now is that my dinner companion is a vendeuse at a couturier's, which means her profession is helping Jacques sell all those dresses of his. She is Polish, this dinner companion of mine, a refugee. And this is partly because I am closing in on that section of the population, and she is also a very classy dish indeed, that section I'm closing in on. The name is Baroness Nago, and by this time we're leaning across the empty coffee cups, making eyes at each other.
I'm enjoying myself, you know. I didn't think I would.
Go ahead. Enjoy yourself all you want to. I'm on an expense account. Do you mind if I ask you a rather personal question,
No,
Baroness?
I don't think so.
I'd like you to tell me something about the criminal underworld of Warsaw.
For a couple of years, Mr. Lime, and only because my family needed the money very much.
Yes,
I
I
was
know that
attached
is,
to the water police.
The
I
police?
think I was helpful.
Imagine.
But the truth is, I was only used on one case as a sort of wooden duck. How you call it, a decoy. There were several of us, all working to break up the gang of a certain criminal called Sophie.
Sophie, huh?
It was all frightfully sordid.
Yes,
One
I
isn't
imagine.
a brute, but still one was glad actually to be useful in breaking it up. It was a pity the leader was never caught.
So the leader, Sophie, never got away. What was her full name, Sophie?
Does it really matter?
Well, it might, yes, quite a lot.
She's been married since.
Well, do you know the man's name?
I will look it up for you. Apparently she's very respectable now and has nothing to fear.
Well, I thought they were very strict about people with criminal records in Argentina.
Oh, yes, not Argentina
No?
and not Brazil, Mr. Lime.
No?
And do not imagine you can trap me so easily.
You know what? I'll bet you a couple of $100 I can trap you, Baroness.
Let's make it 500. That's more sporting.
500, well, 300. That's sporting enough. I'll write the address of this lady, Sophie, on the back of this menu, and you write your version of it on yours.
Okay.
Well, I've written my guess. Smith. I don't suppose it's right. Let's see how I did. Smith. Well, show me what you wrote.
I would like to see, first of all, the states.
All right. 1, 2, 200, 3. And now let's see what you wrote, Thanks. Signora Carlo Martini, 77 Avenida Libertad, Havana, Cuba. Well, you win, Baroness. I did come within a mile of it. The next day, I was on my way to Cuba. And a little time after that, I was in my room in the hotel in Havana. It was after midnight.
Yes. Just a minute. Hold on. Mr. Arkadin calling.
Okay. Hello?
How are you coming,
Oh,
Lime?
fine. I couldn't be better, Mr. Arkadin. Got the goods on you. What? Well, the dirt, all of it. That's what you wanted, wasn't it?
How you mean dirt?
Well, I know all about before 27.
What?
Before 1927. I know what you were up to in Warsaw.
Warsaw? Can you prove it? What's your room number?
Maybe you didn't understand. I'm in Havana.
So am I.
I said Havana.
I heard you. What's your number?
208.
I'll be right down.
Hello, Lime.
Well, Mr. Arkadin, this is a coincidence. What are you doing in Havana, Mr. Arkadin?
I had some business to attend to. What's your news?
I was just writing out a full report, but if you like, I can boil it down to the essentials.
Boil it down.
Sophie Wyszynski is living. She's married bigamously, and her real husband, a character known as Oscar, is blackmailing her.
What of
And
it?
Oscar's a hophead. He takes heroin in large doses.
What's that got to
Well,
do
I
with
managed
me?
to lock Oscar away for a few days in a shack outside of town. I didn't give him any junk, and after a while he started talking. He talked quite a lot, Mr. Arkadin. It's all going down in the report.
Never mind the report. What did he say?
Well, okay, I'll give it to you. If you're asking, there were 7 members operating in a gang headed in Warsaw by Sophie Wyszynski. 3 of them are dead. 2 Andre Bloch and Jacob Hescheli's are behind the Iron Curtain. Oscar, I've told you about. Well, that leaves one more. His name was Akim Athabadze. And in 1927, Athabadze absconded with some of the loot of the gang. The gang never found him, but I have another source, and I'll tell you about that later. But I've managed to trace Mr. Athabadze to Zurich, where he changed his name. Does that mean anything to you?
Why should it?
Well, supposing I should tell you that the name he took was Arkadin. Gregory Arkadin.
You'd have to prove it.
I can.
You're positive?
Positive.
You spoke of sources. Who are they?
Well, it's very involved, Mr. Arkadin. I'm tired. I'd rather put the whole thing down in an orderly way in my report.
And when will that be?
Well, I'm leaving Cuba tomorrow, and then I'll have all the facts assembled in Paris, and I'll put it down by the end of the week and give it to you.
I see. I hope you're mistaken, Mr. Lime. It would be a terrible thing if what you tell me is true.
I'm not mistaken.
Well, whatever happens, say nothing of this to my daughter. Absolutely nothing. Do I have your word on that?
Of course.
I wonder if you could possibly guess what an awful thing it is. To have only a conscience. A conscience. And no memory at all.
2 days later, I was in France. Raina phoned me at my hotel, and I took her to dinner. She tried to draw me out, but I wasn't having any of that. I'd given Arkadin a promise, and no matter what he'd been or what I was, that was one promise that was going to be kept.
I wish you weren't so mysterious about everything, Harry. You see, I know about the airports. There's to be 3 of them in Portugal. It means a great deal of money for whoever gets the contract.
Yes, that's where the intelligence check business comes. You know, I don't even think he knows what an intelligence check is.
He's heard people talking about it, you know, Army people and others, Americans.
Yeah.
And it worries him. Remember, he's a Russian.
Yeah.
And that means he grew up with an almost superstitious fear of all secret police.
Just a second. How do you know he's Russian?
Well, I am his daughter.
Yes, but he doesn't know himself where he was born. What are you laughing at?
Is that what he told you, that he didn't know where he was born?
You mean he was lying?
Oh, he can't help it, Harry. He lies to everybody. It's his nature.
Oh, well, what about this amnesia?
What amnesia?
Well, in 1927, your father found himself in Zurich with his pockets full of money and no memory at all. He didn't know where he came from or who he was or where he got the money. Now, oh, wait a minute. You mean the whole thing was a lie?
I never heard of amnesia lasting that long. More than 20 years. Except in cheap books and bad movies. Oh, Harry, you should have known better than to believe that one.
So he'd been lying. Lying all the time. He knew his past. As well as I knew my own. Well, just as I was absorbing that, the news came from Cuba. A friend in Havana sent it to me, a clipping from one of the newspapers. Said he thought I'd be interested. Well, I was. It seems that Signor Oskar Trebich and Signora Martini, formerly Sophie Waszczycki of Poland, had been found together in a ditch in a suburb of Havana. Both were dead. They had been strangled. Yeah?
We've managed to trace Mr. Arkadin for you, Mr. Lime.
Good.
At the airport.
Is it the airport?
Just a minute, I'll put him through.
Thank you. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Lime.
Yes, Harry Lime speaking.
Make it quick, Lime. Traffic's just cleared me. I'm flying my own plane, and if I don't take off right away, I won't get into Paris before dark. What do you want?
Well, they found Sophie and Oscar.
What's that?
Oscar, Mr. Arkadin. Oscar and Sophie. Remember Sophie? She used to be your girlfriend back in Warsaw when you were working for her as a white slaver and dope smuggler. Oscar was her husband. They were found dead in a ditch, Mr. Arkadin. In a ditch near Havana. They'd been strangled.
What about it?
Well, I know why you did it. You...
Lime, listen to me. I am paying you money. Big money. I'll even raise the sum. I'll see you in Paris.
No, I'd rather not see you, Mr. Arkadin. I'd rather not be strangled and left in a ditch.
Well, then, what do you propose?
Well, I propose to tell your story, Mr. Arkadin. The whole story. Remember, I have the proof.
We'll see about your proofs. I'm an important man, Lime. Not a little crook like you. Nobody'll believe you.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Arkadin. I'm really very sorry. But I've already found somebody who does believe me.
Who? Who believes you? Nobody that matters. You forget who I am.
Well, you're the father of Raina, Mr. Arkadin. I told you I was sorry, but I had to save my life.
You mean you told Raina?
Yes, Mr. Arkadin.
And she believed you?
Everything. Everything except the murder of Sophie and Oscar. She thinks it may not have been you who did that, and of course I can't prove that it was, but if I should be killed now, Mr. Arkadin, that would be proof enough, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it, Mr. Arkadin?
Harry Lime returns in just a moment. And now, Harry Lime.
So, that's how the plane happened to be empty. Arkadin must have set the controls before he jumped out. But why? Why did he jump instead of crashing? I think because he wanted Raina to know it wasn't accidental. Because he wanted her to realize that rather than face her, knowing she knew about him, he preferred to die. But of course, that's only a theory. There wasn't any note in the plane, just the portfolio, the famous dispatch case he always traveled with, filled with all the great affairs of the world. Now we can only guess. Gregory Arkadin remained, even to the last, a man of mystery.
73 years ago, April 11th, 1952, The Lives of Harry Lime, the Third Man, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A once-a-week, 15-minute serial, The Adventures of Jungle Jim, is next.
The international struggles of our world may lead to
nuclear holocaust.
To survive, you must have protection from radioactive fallout.
In the past, heavy equipment necessitated a long, costly operation for out-of-home shelter installation.
Today, Survival basement-type shelters offer a combination steel and concrete do-it-yourself fallout shelter.
Civil Defense approved, Survival offers maximum protection from fallout and falling debris, plus a basic equipment kit for family survival.
There's low initial cost and FHA approval. Nothing down and 5 years to pay.
For your family's protection, see a Survival shelter today.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we have an episode of The Adventures of Jungle Jim. This goes back 89 years to April 11th, 1936, and the Purple Triangle.
Presenting the adventures of Jungle Jim. Last week, Shanghai Lil visited the Chinese messenger who had left the letter for Jungle Jim, and she threatened to kill him. When Jungle Jim reached Patrick O'Shaughnessy Flynn's cafe, he was given the latest news of Shanghai Lil and also the letter from the mysterious Chinese. It told Jim to make a secret visit to the writer, Lo Tung, at the hotel. When Jim followed the mysterious instructions, Lo Tung told him he had been sent by the American consul at Shanghai to ask Jim's aid. Before he could complete his message, a shot rang out and the Chinese messenger fell to the floor. The thrilling adventures of Jungle Jim are pictured each Sunday in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest pictorial supplement of humor and adventure. For Comic Weekly, each page printed in full colors is distributed everywhere as an integral part of your Hearst Sunday newspaper. And now we continue our story. As Lo Tung falls to the floor, Jungle Jim bounds from his chair and drops beside him.
Lo Tung, speak to me. Lo Tung, speak.
Who's there?
Sure, and it's me, Jim. Are you all right?
Oh, Pat Flynn. Yes, I'm all right. Wait a second. Come in, Pat, quick.
I thought I heard a shot as I came down the hall, Jim.
You did, Pat.
Holy St. Patrick. What's happened here? Jim, you didn't...
No, I didn't shoot him. The shot came through the window. See the broken pane?
Is he hurt bad, Jim?
I don't know yet. Pat, he's dead.
Dead, is it? Oh, the Lord have mercy on him. As meek as pie he was, and he always tucked his shirt in his pants like a civilized human, too. Did you find out what he was here for, Jim?
You just told me he had been sent by the American consul at Shanghai to enlist my aid when the shot rang out, and there he fell where he was standing.
You don't say. But how could anybody have timed it so well to shut him off like that?
I think they planned to kill him before he said as much as he did, but they arrived too late.
Yeah, there's no fire escape on this side of the hotel. How did the murderer shoot through the window, Jim?
We'll see. Turn out the light, Pat.
Yes.
Come here now.
Yes.
Don't get in front of the window, though, in case our friend takes another pot shot into the room.
I'll stand well to one side of the window, Jim. Never fear for Patrick O'Shaughnessy Flynn sticking his neck out when the other fella has the advantage.
Look there, Pat.
Yes?
Whoever killed this China boy must have been stationed in that tree outside the window.
Be jabers if it ain't so. But neither hide nor hair do I see the murderer.
No, he sure made a quick getaway. All right, Pat. You can turn the lights on again.
And no sooner said than done. Sure, and it's a good thing I made up me mind to close up the cafe and come up here after you, Jim.
Yeah.
I had a hunch. And mind you, I'm not the one to be given to anything supermental. I had a hunch that something was going to happen.
Is that so?
Yes, of course. I couldn't help suspicioning the little yellow clam here. Lord have mercy on him. On account of us not knowing anything about him or what he was up to. And he was sent here to get you to help his side, eh?
Yeah, so it seems. Boy, if they had only fired that shot a few minutes later, we'd have known what this was all about.
Yeah, bad cess to whoever did it, says I. Well, what are you going to do now, Jim?
Call the manager.
But, Jim...
Hello. Hello, Bill. This is Jim Bradley talking. Better come up here right away. Your Chinese guest, Lo Tung, has just been murdered. Yeah. He was shot from outside while we were talking. Right.
What did he say?
He said not to touch anything. He'll be right up.
That's a good thing he'll find me with you, Jim. I'm a witness for you.
Yes, but not an eyewitness, Pat.
Hey, Jabers, I never thought of that.
Now, you can say what you like about why you came here, Pat. But don't repeat what I told you Lo Tung said to me.
Sure, and why not? It's the truth. And as Father Regan used to say, sticks and stones may break your bones, but the truth can't never hurt you.
Well, this is one time Father Regan's proverb is wrong. It can.
Yeah, what do you mean by that now?
Just this. We don't know who was in that tree out there, but whoever was in that tree doesn't know that Lo Tung managed to tell me about the American consul at Shanghai. Now, by telling the truth, we'll be tipping our hand.
I see it now. You mean if you give the murderer enough rope, he'll hang himself?
That's the idea, Pat. Oh, just a second, Bill. I forgot the door was still locked.
Say, this is terrible. Oh, hello, Pat. Jim, I heard that shot and I looked out, but didn't see anyone. I never suspected anything was wrong up here, Jim.
The shot came through the window from that tree out there, Bill. Better send for the authorities. Come along, Pat.
No, but Jim, they may want to question you.
If they want me, I'll be at my camp.
Meanwhile, on their camp at the jungle trail, the Reverend Chalmers arouses his daughter from her sleep.
Lynn, dear, wake up, dear.
Is it morning? Why, Dad, what's the matter?
Help me to break camp, Lynn. We're leaving at once for Burawane.
We're what?
I said we're leaving at once for Burawane. You must help me to break camp.
Of course, Dad. But why in the middle of the night like
dear,
this?
Don't waste time asking questions. Just do as I say. I've got most of the supplies stowed away in the motorboat. There's just the tent and a few odds and ends. I let you sleep as long as I could.
I don't understand this. You didn't say anything at supper about us going to Burawane.
Yes, I know. Roll up the beds while I loosen the guy ropes and pull up the stakes, Lynn.
Right away, Dad. As soon as I get my eyes open. We've gone this long without a guide. I should have thought we could wait until morning to start for Burawane.
We're not going down for a guide, my dear.
Are you taking me to Burawane to send me back to Mother?
Oh, Lynn, dear, I've asked you not to waste time asking questions.
Well, I don't think it's fair if you are. I told you I'd think it over about going back to Shanghai, and I haven't decided yet.
Oh, give me a hand here. Now, let's get the tent folded up. Now, fold it this way first.
Yes, Dad.
That's it. Now this way.
Right.
Fine. You can put the beds in the boat, Lynn, while I'm rolling the tent up.
All right, Dad. But you can't change the subject as easily as that.
Oh, Lynn, bring me back a pail of water to put out the fire.
All right.
I'll pack up the kitchen utensils.
Here's the water, Dad.
Thanks, dear. You can stow these things away while I put out the fire. Then I'll bring down the tent and we can get underway.
Then will you tell me what this is all about?
Yes, I guess I'd better.
I'm glad you realized that.
Now then, let's stow this tent away. Ah, that's it. I don't think we've forgotten anything.
Well, Dad, I'm waiting. What is this all about?
Lynn, I want you to watch me carefully while I start the engine. First, you turn this valve up like this. Then you squirt a little petrol in it, like this. Then you close the valve, spin the flywheel, like this. There she goes. This is the way to stop it. You think you could do it by yourself?
Yes, I think so, but...
Good. Now, here is the map of the river. There's Burawane down there. And here's where we are at the present moment. The only dangerous part of the river is through this part marked in red. We must keep in the center while running along here. There's a channel in the center and submerged rocks on either side. We mustn't lose our propeller, you know.
Of course I know that, Dad. But you're talking as though I were going to make this trip alone.
You may be, Lynn.
What do you mean?
Well, just that. You may make the trip alone. That's why I'm giving you these careful instructions. You see, my dear, I haven't been feeling well for the last day or two.
Why, Dad, why haven't you told me before?
Oh, I thought I could fight it off. But tonight I woke up feeling worse. I know it's no use. I've got to get to a doctor. That's why we're starting for Burwani tonight. Lynn, your father's a very sick man.
Before returning to his camp outside of the town, Jungle Jim goes to the cafe with Patrick O'Shaughnessy Flynn for a few moments.
Yes, sir. 'Tis a queer, busy business all around, Jim. Now, stand right here where you are until I get the light lit.
Okay, Pat.
Ah, there we are. You can come in now and shut the door, Jim. Now I'll fix us up a little nightcap.
Thanks. I can't figure this out, Pat. I wonder what in blazes the American consul at Shanghai could want with me.
Well, now, maybe he needs an assistant, Jim.
He may need an assistant, but I couldn't be that for him.
Well, why not now?
Oh, there's a long string of names on the diplomatic waiting list for that office right now. No, Pat, it can't be anything official.
Well, when it comes to anything not official, be jabbers, you're the finest unofficial official in the whole country. All out of it.
Thanks, Pat.
And I'll stake me word of honor on that, Jim.
Oh, I'm afraid you're prejudiced.
Yeah, and who isn't of them as knows you, Jim?
How did that consul ever hear of me? I don't even know his name. Low Tongue was shot before I could learn that. It might be somebody I used to know back in the United States. Somebody who's worked his way up in the diplomatic corps while I've been tramping through these jungles.
Now, say, there's an angle I never thought of. It's more likely that's the way of it.
Pat, have you seen any other Orientals around here the past few days? Or was Low Tongue the only one?
He's the only one I see, Jim.
But whoever shot poor Low Tongue knew that he wanted my help.
And that's the truth of it. Listen. What's that airplane doing around here this time of night?
Probably some Army scout plane. Pat, there's something mysterious behind a letter from the American consul and the sudden death of this Chinaman. I'm going to see this thing through.
Yeah, good for you, Jim, and I'll stick with you.
Well, I guess I'd better hit camp. See you in the morning, Pat.
Yes, sir, bright and early.
And remember,
yes?
If the authorities come around, Low Tongue was killed just as he and I started to talk.
I'll remember everything you told me, but that, Jim.
Where's Jim? They told me I'd find him here.
For the love of... Shanghai Lil, what are you doing here at this time of night?
Shut up. Where's Jim? Are you deaf? Where's Jungle Jim?
How can I answer when you told me to keep still?
All right, you can talk now.
Jim ain't here. He's gone to his camp outside town. Here! Where are you going?
Jim's camp. I want to see him.
That's quite a hike.
I'm not going to walk. I'll fly there in my new plane.
As Jim approaches his camp, a fast plane roars over his head. Then, with motor cut, it glides toward him. Jim runs to his tent. As he arrives, a girl in flying togs greets him.
Hello, Jim, darling.
Shanghai Lil, what in blazes...
Well, aren't you glad to see me?
Not particularly.
You will be when you hear what I have to say, Jim.
What is Shanghai Lil about to reveal to Jungle Jim? The adventures you have just heard dramatized appear in full-color action pictures in the Comic Weekly. The big Comic Weekly distributed with your Hearst Sunday newspaper everywhere. In the Comic Weekly you will find all of the interesting, amusing, and adventurous characters who live in the world of colored pictures. You will chuckle with Bringing Up Father, laugh at the antics of the Little King, and roar at the adventures of Skippy. There is also Barney Google, Flash Gordon, the Katzenjammer Kids, and many, many others. Don't forget our date next week, same station, same time, for a continuation of the adventures of Jungle Jim.
A 15-minute infomercial for the comics. 89 years ago today, April 11th, 1936, The Adventures of Jungle Jim, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll get back to comedy tomorrow. Screen Directors Playhouse production of Hired Wife. Also Jack Benny, George and Gracie, and Fibber and Molly. That's all tomorrow. Thanks for making us a part of your day here on Classic Radio Theater. See you tomorrow. I'm Wyatt Cox.